Perfect. Well, we've hit the 12:01 mark, so we'll crack on. So yeah, thanks everyone for joining. Yeah, like I say, webinar on large format additive manufacturing. My name's Bethan Smith, so I'm the head of the Laser Processing Centre of Excellence here at the MTC. And partly why I'm hosting this is that I'm also the link into the MID board at iMechE, who's sponsoring this. So as well as obviously AMUK and MTC. So big thanks to those guys. We'll just switch to the next slide if we can, to the program. So just to give people who are joining a reminder, hopefully you saw this as you signed up. So I'll do a little bit of a welcome. Like I say, this is the first webinar of this year in 2026. We plan to do a series of webinars from an iMechE perspective, not just on AM, but going forward on automation and lasers. So do let us know if you want to see specific topics, because we're happy to try and pull speakers together for that. But today's session, we'll start off with Arthur from MTC, go into AirTech, and then finish with Liam. And we will have 10 minutes for Q&A at the end. So people should see that the Q&A function should be enabled. So if people want to ask questions, please do ask as they go along, but in the chat. We won't be stopping for questions. We'll go through all of the speakers, and at the end we'll collate the questions as we've gone along and have a bit of a conversation towards the end. So that's the sort of structure that we'll go through today. If we go to the next slide, I'll just spend a bit of time introducing our speakers today, and again welcoming them all to this webinar. So like I say, first of all, we've got Arthur, who's a senior research engineer at the MTC. So he leads the large format AM capability here at the National Centre for AM, and he'll talk a bit about that in his talk. But he's been working in this field in automation and additive manufacture since 2015, so a lot of experience behind him. And he's also had some experience of lecturing in design for manufacture at UCL as well. So he's got a really good experience in this area. We'll then move to Thomas, who'll do 15 minutes on AirTech, sort of pellets to performance, so looking at current trends, and especially in tooling and recycling. And he's got over 8 years in this industry, so specialising in additive manufacturing, aerospace composites and tooling, and a real broad range of R&D and business development. And then lastly, we have, but not least, we have Patrick from
Are you going, or have you managed to adjust your lift?
I think I guess just a bit of housekeeping as people join, if they can go on mute. I think we've got a few. I can hear. Let me see if I can put one of you guys on mute. I think there we go. Yeah, and last but not least, Patrick. So he started working in LFAM in 2017. So as a researcher actually in Munich, and as part of his PhD, he's developed some of this technology, and actually then co-founded the company in 2023. So he's now responsible for all of the external facing applications for the new sort of Liam head, and he'll talk about how that head and the sort of temperature is important in some of the part processing. So really excited to have all three of these guys talking about LFAM. And I think we'll share some really interesting insights for all of you dialing in, either on your lunch break or otherwise. And then the last slide from me, just to finish on the boring bits really, so apologies, but yeah, housekeeping. As we go through, if you can submit your questions using the Q&A feature, we will be sending the slides out. So if you miss something, we will send them via email. And hopefully you've seen, but this webinar is being recorded, so just to make you aware. And we will have a survey towards the end, so please tell us how we did. Like I say, we want to be doing more of these webinars, not just in additive, but in automation and other technologies as well. So this will help us sort of improve our webinar series as we go forwards. Like I say, I'll help host the questions at the end for the last 10 minutes, but that's pretty much the last you'll hear of me. And I shall take this time to thank all of the speakers, and then hand over to Arthur to talk about the drivers and challenges in LFAM and what we're doing at the MTC. So over to you, Arthur, and off you go.